Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started right away. Thank you so much for coming out. And welcome to the 2025 Thorsby Municipal Election Candidate Forum, hosted by the Thorsby and District Senior Citizens Club. My name is Amissa Jablonski, and I will be your moderator for this evening. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered today on Treaty 6 territory. First Nations and Métis peoples are incredible stewards of the land, and it is because of their sacrifice we are able to gather here today. Thorsby sits on a trade route between the North Saskatchewan River and Pigeon Lake and saw the footfalls of generations of Indigenous peoples. I would encourage everyone to engage in the difficult conversations of truth so that we can build a path towards reconciliation. For those of you who have yet to meet, I was born and raised in the Thorsby area and am the fourth of 5 generations here. My family has been involved in the community for a very long time. I currently work for the Chancellor and Senate of the University of Alberta and have completed my Bachelor of Science in Pharmacology, my Bachelor of Education in the elementary stream, and my Master's of Arts in Policy Studies. In the interest of full disclosure, I am not a taxpayer in Thorsby, so I cannot vote in this election. My immediate family is in the area, but they're county residents, and I do have an aunt and uncle who live in town. I'm honored to have been asked to moderate for you this evening. This evening's proceedings are being recorded, and the recording will be posted to various community Facebook groups on Thursday. I have to do a little bit of editing because we have a portion that's at the back of the room, and it doesn't work very well to move our camera around. Thank you for your engagement in submitting questions in advance for this evening's forum. We had an overwhelming response. Before we get to those questions, however, I'd like to review our plan for how the forum will unfold. First, we have invited your councillors-elect to provide some remarks addressing the following questions. Why do you want to serve the citizens of Thorsby? What is your vision for the town of Thorsby over the next 4 years? What do you believe to be Thorsby's greatest challenges? And what goals would you like to accomplish during your time on council? All 4 councillors-elect were invited to provide these remarks. 3 accepted the invitation, and we will hear from them shortly, with 2 presenting in person and 1 submitting a video message. Your 4th councillor-elect declined the invitation to speak with you this evening. After hearing from your 3 participating councillors-elect, we will move to opening statements from mayoral candidates Carol Rempel and Daryl Hostin, the incumbent. Following opening statements, we will begin working through the submitted questions. As of noon today, we had 34 questions submitted, and that's a little bit of a lie. There were 34 submissions. There were several more questions, as a few of you decided to put more than 1 question in your submission. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to every single question, and there were some duplicate questions, but we will do our best to get through as many as possible in the time we have. The candidates will have up to 90 seconds each to respond to each question, and the themes for the questions were distributed to Mr. Hostin and Ms. Rempel on Tuesday. We will not have an open mic available for questions this evening, partly due to technical capacity reasons and partly to ensure we are getting through as many of the questions as possible in the most efficient manner. The candidates will also be provided with the full unedited list of questions later this evening and have been invited to respond at greater length should they wish. Those responses, should they be received, will be posted to the same Facebook groups where the recording is available. Upon completion of the time for questions submitted online, the candidates have been invited to ask an up to 60-second question of their opponent with an up to 90-second response. We will then wrap with a 2-minute closing statement from each candidate, focusing on why the citizens of Thorsby should vote for them. The candidates have been notified of these strict time limits in advance, and we do have the option to mute their microphones should they exceed their time limit by more than a few seconds. And with that, let's get right to our councillor-elect statements. I'm pleased to invite 3 of your councillor-elects to provide their thoughts and aspirations for the next 4 years. Councillors-elect Carrie Levins and Audrey Watson are here in person this evening, and Councillor-elect Tracy Messon submitted a pre-recorded message. Councillor-elect Kevin Reynolds declined the invitation to speak to you this evening. For ease of transition, we'll hear from Ms. Levins and Ms. Watson first, then play Ms. Messon's recording before we move on to our mayoral candidates. And we will start with Councillor-elect Levins. If you can read it. No worries.
Good evening. I see a lot of familiar faces. Sorry, I'm short. I do project well though. I do see a lot of familiar faces. Many of you know my name, but for those of you that don't, my name is Carrie Levins Nelson, legally Carrie Levins. I've been a proud resident of the town of Thorsby for the past 6 years, during which time I have had the opportunity to work with cooperators, build and grow my own DJ business, as well as actively contribute through the local Chamber of Commerce. Each of these roles has helped me connect with the community, be involved in local events, which I thoroughly enjoy, and gain a deeper understanding of the unique strengths and needs of our town as I see it. I have decided to run for councillor out of a genuine desire to help Thorsby thrive. I'm committed to supporting and expanding community events, strengthening local businesses, and exploring practical ways to improve our town's infrastructure. My goal is to ensure that Thorsby continues to be a vibrant, welcoming place for both residents and visitors. I look forward to the opportunity to work alongside fellow councillors, our mayor, whomever that ends up being, and the town's administration, while listening to and actively engaging with residents to help shape the future of Thorsby together.
Thank you, Ms. Levin. And Councillor-elect Watson.
Yes, I see a lot of familiar faces here. I think I know almost everybody. But for those that don't, I'm Audrey Watson, and I have been working at the rec center for, 16 years or so. I was also raised in this area, the Glen Park area. I am very familiar with the town. My grandmother actually worked at what we call the hotel as a cook there 45 years ago. So, being working at the rec center, I decided to retire because it was time for a change. I have listened and heard many of the comments over the years made about our town, some good, some not so good. That being said, I decided maybe I should address some of them. I hope I'm a voice of reason in our town and hope to show fiscal responsibility to serve the town in a respectful manner. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, residents of Thorsby, fellow councillors-elect, and mayoral candidates. Thank you for inviting me to say a few words at tonight's forum. Why do I think I want to serve the citizens of Thorsby? I feel that I have an approachable demeanor and that people are welcome to speak to me about any subject at almost any time. I try to make myself available. I am reliable and responsible and accountable to the residents. What is my vision for Thorsby for the next 4 years? With the announcement of the Morning Star project, I would sincerely hope that the project takes off and that our little town will see significant growth, which of course means change. Many have a difficult time with change, but change is progress, and progress is what is needed for the town of Thorsby. What do I believe will be the biggest challenges for Thorsby? Actually, I would say that the challenges are to get people to accept change. We seem to want change, but when it comes down to the actual change, it is very difficult to accept. What goals would you like to accomplish while on council? I would like to see that we continue in the forward thinking of creating income to help alleviate high taxes, and that with our water corporation, the MCC with Wetaskiwin County, that we do generate income and make our town more desirable for growth. As I declared 4 years ago, that I, Tracy Musson, do solemnly swear that I will diligently, faithfully, and to the best of my ability execute, according to law, the office of Councillor for the town of Thorsby. So help me God. I stated that 4 years ago on October 26, 2021, and I intend to follow through with that for the next 4 years and preside in the office of Councillor for the town of Thorsby. The community of Thorsby needs to grow in a sustainable way. Communication is the key, and I believe that we are on our way to having more prosperous days. As a councillor in the last 4 years, I can confirm that I have been diligent and responsible in attending meetings. I have done many volunteer and community events. I have been available when requested as Commissioner of Oaths on numerous occasions, and I stand by my word that I will remain committed to our community. My councillor job is 24/7. I offer my congratulations to the 3 other councillors-elect. As well, I look forward to the outcome of the mayoral race.
Thank you to Councillors-elect Levins, Watson, and Musson for those remarks. I would like to invite mayoral candidates Daryl Hostin and Carol Rempel to the front of the room to deliver their opening statements this evening. And Daryl will have you on the far left of me, and Carol closer, just based on mic height. Our 2 mayoral candidates will have up to 3 minutes to make their initial appeal using the same questions that were provided to the councillors-elect. The order of speaking was determined by a coin flip and will be reversed for the closing statements. Mr. Hostin will speak first, followed by Ms. Rempel. The floor is yours.
All right, can you hear me? Oh, thank you everybody for coming. And thank you all for putting this on here for the Seniors Club and as well as Nessa here. Question 1, why do I want to serve the citizens of Thorsby? Thorsby is my home. It has always been my home and will continue to be my home for the rest of my life. My parents, Louis and Doreen Hostin, spent their entire lives in Thorsby, and my grandfather, John Heyer, as many of you know, was the first mayor in 1949. I have deep roots, and anything I can do to improve the quality of my life here is my mission. I was a councillor from 1996 to 2002, and the mayor since October 2021, and I have considerable knowledge acquired during these terms. I am seeking another 4-year term as your mayor to start and complete the Municipal Control Corporation and new proposed subdivision. Question number 2, my vision. The town has improved their financial and physical affairs considerably in the past 4 years. My vision is now to begin the process of revamping our 70-year-old water and sewer lines, followed by road resurfacing. The MCC can lower our operating costs for water by $1 million yearly, and 200 houses in the proposed subdivision would provide almost $600,000 to the revenue side. These monies could be applied to infrastructure revamping without the need to raise taxes. This is my vision. Number 3, what do I believe to Thorsby's greatest challenge? Well, this is no secret. The residents have stated every year going back to my time on council in 1996, lower taxes, improve the water quality, and fix the streets. Having only taxation and a few MSI grants combined with the previous state of Thorsby's fiscal situation has left no money to complete these tasks. For the first time in the history of Thorsby, we have a chance for revenue other than taxes to tackle these challenges through the MCC and proposed subdivision. Question 4, what goals would you like to accomplish during your time on council? Receive the necessary funding from Water for Life through the province of Alberta to see the completion of the Municipal Control Corporation and begin the process of selling our water along with the County of Wetaskiwin as a partner. enhance the new Thorsby bulk water station to be the best in the area and add new revenue to Thorsby, complete the new proposed subdivision to the satisfaction of the residents of Thorsby, begin the process of fixing our roads, water, and sewer without need to raise taxes, and continue to serve the residents of Thorsby. This is my vision here. I don't know how I did the time. Pretty close?
Pretty close.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Ms. Rempel.
Hey, why do you want to serve the citizens of Thorsby? I'm a very passionate and caring person who wants to be involved with the future of our community. My husband and I moved to Thorsby from an acreage outside of Warburg in 2014, but have been in the local community since 1977. With 2 of my daughters, their husbands, and 4 grandchildren living in Thorsby, I'm interested in making decisions that directly improve people's lives. As a team, the council and administration shall have a great impact if we work together to solve local issues. I am interested in the growth potential and collaborating with other communities. If we work together as a group, we will ensure the policies and programming serves all residents. What is your vision for the town over the next 4 years? I will be building strong partnerships, and in particular, meeting with both the MLA, Andrew Bachenko, and MP, Mike Lake, to determine what they can do for us and how we can work together effectively. Also collaborating with other communities to reduce costs and advertise jointly while building lasting relationships and networks. This includes grant writing and making policies that serve everyone. With my background in team building, I will communicate with all businesses, organizations, clubs, and residents to determine what is needed most in the community, opportunities to share their ideas and be part of decision-making, and then bring to council all concerns and ideas where serving them with openness, honesty, vitality, and integrity. By encouraging community involvement, it inspires residents to actively participate in the growth, vitality, and prosperity of Thorsby. By being fiscally responsible, I will ensure taxpayers' dollars are used wisely and effectively. I will respectfully listen to the concerns sincerely and respond with empathy and action. Give credit and recognition to all those organizations that have volunteered their time to make a difference in our community. Not just a luncheon, but a letter of thanks of their accomplishments. Positive action goes a long way. The number one challenge in Thorsby is communication. The town works independently rather than including the businesses, organizations, and clubs in any decision making. The communication between the Ladue County and the town of Thorsby is at its all-time low. The council is only as good as the administration, and the administration is only as good as the council. Working together and collaborating is crucial in the development and growth of Thorsby. Too often, responses from the town are delayed as our CAO is part-time rather than act immediately, sometimes responding days or weeks later. When I am elected mayor, I will not only use social media to keep the residents and businesses in the loop of the upcoming social
And
highlights.
that's your time.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry, I have so much.
Thank you very much for those opening statements. We will now move to the question portion of this evening's events, and we have plenty of time to get to all of your questions. A reminder that the candidates will have up to 90 seconds to respond to each question, and we'll alternate between who responds first to each. Ms. Rempel, you will respond first if you want to stand for both to save time, but we've got lots of time, so it's okay. So we will start with our first question. So this will be to both, all questions will be to both candidates.
Okay.
Thorsby has many thriving volunteer community groups that serve and support the town and surrounding area. In the past, it has been observed that support from council for these groups' events, particularly through attendance, is rarely enthusiastic. How do you plan on being supportive and accountable to these community groups once elected? Ms. Rempel?
Okay. I'm just looking at my notes. I have so many here. I think working with all of the other groups, my number one goal again is team building. Working together positively and communicating with organizations and businesses. They are the heart of and the backbone of our community, and without them, we would not have a town. The Chamber of Commerce is the voice of the businesses. It's important to shop local, or at least ask for a bid locally. Our organizations are equally important, which includes our volunteers. My goal is to encourage Communities in Bloom to be involved with all planting and decision-making in 2026. No more outsourcing the planting to an outside group. Our volunteers will save us time and money, and the job will be done right. The weed will then get done too. Work with all of the organizations and boards to collaborate positively, making decisions together rather than only one or two people doing all the decision-making for our town. Market and that's about it.
Oh, you still have time. You still have 30 seconds.
Market and develop our industrial park. There's only power to each site now, but intend to apply for grants to provide water and sewer as well. The council, no, I'm gonna leave that one for another question. That's good.
And Mr. Austin, same question.
So, listen, where have you got these questions? Because I didn't get these questions.
Just the themes were given in advance.
Pardon me?
Just the themes were given in advance?
Okay, so.
Yeah, so the only person who has seen these questions is myself and my friend that was in my office this
Okay,
afternoon.
but we, by the time, you said it all,
Yeah.
we forgot half.
I can, you know what, I can repeat the question because
Okay,
there's
please
a lot more time than last time, no problem.
All right.
Thorsby has many thriving community groups that serve and support the town and surrounding area. In the past, it has been observed that support from council for these groups' events, particularly through attendance, is rarely enthusiastic. How do you plan on being supportive and accountable to these community groups once elected?
Well, first of all, when the charity groups started here 4 years ago, or when we started 4 years ago, there were no agreements with any of these groups. So the money for these charities and for these organizations comes from the taxpayers. So they need to be accountable. So we started with the MOUs for these, and we made some rules for them, and for the most part, the organizations abided by these. And council is willing to work with them in every one. So, but when the rules sometimes are not abided by, then it becomes necessary to take other steps, and that's unfortunate. But for the most part, it's all abided by the master MOCs for these. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And Daryl, how do you answer this question? Daryl, sorry. I even had trouble with spelling because of the rhyming nature of your
might remember it
names.
easier.
The nature of municipal government requires hard choices to be made and sometimes yield vocal opposition from constituents. How would you address those who do not agree with you personally or with a decision that council has made?
I'm sorry, but I didn't hear the first part of that.
Sorry. The nature of municipal government requires hard choices to be made that sometimes yield vocal opposition from your constituents. How would you address those who do not agree with you personally or with a decision the council has made?
Well, first of all, it's not just one vote, it's for the council majority vote. So we have to run it through the council. People sometimes don't like the answers that we come out there, but it's a majority choice. So we would discuss it among themselves and then come up with a logical explanation that the majority would go by. So that's what the best way to do it. Thank you.
And Ms. Rempel? Yeah, I will repeat the question. The nature of municipal government requires hard choices to be made that sometimes yield vocal opposition from constituents. How would you address those who do not agree with you personally or with a decision that council has made?
Okay, unfortunately, there is some disconnect with the town and some organizations. Lack of appreciation for the volunteers that have so tirelessly offered their time and energy to make our community a place to be proud of. Communication is so very important to keep relationships healthy. Taking the time to meet and discuss differences and to listen to each voice makes a positive action. I'm outgoing and will be talking and communicating with many residents, businesses, Leduc County especially, and other communities besides our MP and MLA to see how we can work together.
Awesome. And we will have Ms. Rempel answer the next question. So
Okay.
basically, don't bother sitting down when you're
Okay.
done if you're the last
Okay.
person.
Okay.
It is no secret that the roads in Thorsby are notoriously bad. The repaving of 53rd Avenue was slated to be completed this year, but it has yet to have a contract signed for its improvement. Alleys often see lakes when it rains, hindering utility and homeowner access. How would you address prioritizing infrastructure upgrades and ensure the work is completed on time and on budget?
Okay, so obviously we know that our infrastructure is very old. You said something like 70 years old. With old pipes, old valves, old connections, it takes years to remedy them and millions of dollars. It's imperative that we continually apply for grants and reach out to both our MP and ML to see how we can work together to upgrade our infrastructure. There's been some upgrades with our water project, but the grant was applied through the Water of Life. We need to actually apply for grants for the roads as well. And there are grants out there, we just need more than one person to apply for the grants. There's a lot of capable people in our community that can apply for grants. The roads will continue being a challenge. Planning and implementing schedules for grading, snow removal, and dust suppression will be an ongoing priority. Residents and businesses will be informed of all the developments regularly.
Great. And Mr. Hostin, it is no secret that the roads in Thorsby are notoriously bad. The repaving of 53rd Avenue was slated to be completed this year, but has yet to have a contract signed for its improvement. Alleys often see lakes when it rains, hindering utility and homeowner access. How would you address prioritizing infrastructure upgrades and ensure the work is completed on time and on budget?
Well, thank you for that. Unfortunately, there are very few grants for that. The town receives an MSI grant every year, usually a couple $100,000. So we are able to save that money over 4 years, and we were planning to do 53rd Avenue with that. Unfortunately, the tenders came later. But these are the only grants that are available, so most of it is gonna have to come in-house, and we don't have the money for that. So we try to use that, save up that MSA money, and then use it all in one shot. Like in the case of the 54th, I believe it was $1 million. In the case of 53rd Avenue that we proposed, it was $800,000. So that's 4 years of MSI grant. Now, the thing with this grant is that you don't get the money. You have to spend it and then apply it, and then you can turn it out. So the money just doesn't sit in the bank. Other than that, that's the only way we can improve on these roads. And we do try to do some maintenance, but the money is just, the budget's just not there. Where do you get the money? It's a problem across all over Alberta, not just Thorsby. Thank you.
Thank you, and Mr. Austin, you'll have the next question first as well.
Shouldn't have sat down, I'm sorry.
No problem. Recreation is critical for the mental health and well-being of all residents of Thorsby and the surrounding area. What is your vision for improving parks, recreation spaces, and public facilities?
Well, we've already had the thing with Taylor Park. We've also got one proposed there in the lot next to the post office over there. We're going to have the Legion is looking after a memorial there for the fallen soldiers in Thorsby, and I believe there's 34 or 35 plaques that we plan to put in there. It's in the works right now, and hopefully when that gets done, it's going to be a showcase. I don't think you've seen anything like that any place in Alberta. We're going to be starting it probably sometime this year. That's one there. As far as the other parks, with the subdivision here, if they get something in there, they're going to have to leave some green space in there. Other than that, we rely mostly on our complex. So, thank you.
And Ms. Rempel, recreation is critical for the mental health and well-being of all residents of Thorsby and the surrounding area. What is your vision for improving parks, recreation spaces, and public facilities?
Okay, our Arctic Spa recreational complex is amazing. We're fortunate to have a very qualified recreational coordinator named Kelly Proby, and she has hired capable, friendly, and knowledgeable staff who organize events, children's programs, sports events, and many other programs for our youth and seniors as well. She has overseen multiple upgrades such as the sound system, commercial equipment in the weight room, renovations in the dance studio, and completely booking ice for hockey and programs that are running at maximum capacity. So we have state-of-the-art recreation complex. Now, as far as parks go, the Chamber of Commerce has taken on the project of Taylor Park and put the money in, and not the town. The Chamber of Commerce raised the money to do all the beautification of the park. We have the Lions Park that is close by that they're working hard at doing and upgrading. And I think we are a community that has a lot of potential. And by advertising, we can certainly get a lot of our tourists to come here, especially having the statue of Thor. Now we're put on the map with our statue of Thor. So I think we have a wonderful community that we just have to build on. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Rempel, you'll be the first to respond to this question. There are many concerns around the speed at which some drivers choose to travel through town. How would you improve traffic safety in Thorsby?
Here. Safety, security, and bylaws enforcement. We have a new community peace officer named Pascal Legio. He works part-time here and in Kalmar. Formerly a police officer, has now taken this position to help our community. Any concerns with safety, security, or bylaw enforcement, please call him and the number will be at the town office. We know our roads and our sidewalks are not safe, but there are grants that are available for these. But if there is any issue with safety and security, by all means, we have a new peace officer that will certainly do his job, I'm sure.
And Mr. Hostin, there are many concerns around the speed at which some drivers choose to travel through town. How would you improve traffic safety in Thorsby?
Well, for one thing, the school is the biggest thing right now. I mean, with the kids crossing the crosswalk there, we have the CAO has been going down there, and then we had our bylaw officer going over there to monitor the crosswalks. Unfortunately, our bylaw officer went on to greener pastures. He's now with the RCMP, so we're waiting for a new one from Kalmar. Pasquale is the commander over there, but he comes over here and does as little bit as he can. Once the new officer gets sworn in here, we're going to have probably some speed traps and stuff like that, some education. We're also planning on right now where there's a lot of ATV use in town, and some of the citizens have complained. We're planning to have in the spring a safety thing for all the kids with their bikes and with ATVs, and I think that's going to really help to improve with the traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, question 6 is for you first. Many feel that taxes in Thorsby are quite high. What is your plan to either lower taxes or maintain them at a 0% increase?
Well, that's exactly right. I've heard that for probably 30 years in Thorsby, and when your only source of revenue, you have no choice to keep up with the service to keep increasing the taxes. So that's why we've gone after with the Municipal Control Corporation. If we get that going here, which we've already applied for, we're now just waiting for funding. We're looking at a different source of revenue, as well as our bulk water station. We've got some revenue coming in there. For once, we won't be able to just rely on the taxation, and somewhere down the line, we could probably drop our taxes, hopefully, or at least hold the line on it.
Ms. Rempel, many feel that taxes in Thorsby are quite high. What is your plan to either lower taxes or maintain them at a 0% increase?
Right now, we had a 12.38% from last year. Who are the tax assessors? I'm not sure who they are. And our mill rate went up. Why weren't taxes increased gradually and implemented gradually? Why do residents with questions regarding their taxes assessment have to phone BC for verification? I don't know if taxes will go down. I mean, obviously I'm not in there to see, but I think we have to be very careful of our revenue and how our spending is. And until I get into to see the books. Maybe we can lower them, but it's very unlikely. Over how many years? I think the taxes went down once. I don't think the taxes will ever go down. I think we just have to create more revenue, and that's again with the sale of our water, hopefully. But we have to be very, very careful again, because Leduc County has never been at the table, and our pipes have to go through Leduc County to sell our water to Wetaskiwin. So I think we're putting the cart before the horse, and I think we have to be very cognizant of how we're going to go about this, and then do our homework, and so that we're not going to be saddled with a lot of debt.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, the question number 7 will be first to you. It has been observed by some that the culture at the town office is challenging to deal with. Residents have had difficulties getting information they seek, and sometimes the front-facing staff can be rude or dismissive. How would you foster a positive work environment and hold administrative leadership accountable?
I think sometimes all the questions are always directed to our CAO or CFO. I think sometimes we need to educate our frontline staff on how to handle business questions and issue permits. I think so often that they get upset because the residents get upset because the staff doesn't have the answers, and I think they need to be educated in how to respond quickly, because if you have to wait for the CAO to get back to you, sometimes it takes weeks.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, it has been observed by some that the culture at the town office is challenging to deal with. Residents have had difficulties getting the information they seek, and sometimes the front-facing staff can be rude or dismissive. How would you foster a positive work environment and hold administrative leadership accountable?
Well, the administration at the town office, the clerks are just clerks. They don't know all the answers. They'll answer questions on the bylaws. A lot of the bylaws and everything is on the webpage. We've really improved upon that. You can look in there. When you have a question, you can come back to the CEO, you can talk to one of the councillors, you can talk to the mayor, you can talk to anybody. And the CEO is very knowledgeable for sure, and I don't see a problem with that at all. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, recently Thorsby has brought green bins online and seen the shuttering of the large format organic waste dump zone. Concerns have been raised over these decisions, particularly around the ability to dispose of large items, the reduction of black bin waste collection to bi-weekly, and the additional cost of a green bin they did not want. What are your thoughts on these changes, and how would you address these residents' concerns?
Well, I mean, we're 15 behinds on the recycling right now. I mean, the economics and all that should have been done a long time ago. If we don't do it now, in a couple of years, we're going to be mandated to do it. So we need to educate people. It's a small price to pay to say 50% of the landfill stuff. When we renegotiated our contract with Integrity this year, it was the last year of a 5-year contract. They basically wouldn't do it any other way, and we had 3 or 4 other contractors. They came with the same thing. So it's a matter of education, and we have to do our part to save the landfills and save the world. Thank you.
Ms. Rempel, recently Thorsby has brought green bins online and seen the shuttering of the large format organic waste dump zone. Concerns have been raised over these decisions, particularly around the ability to dispose of large items, the reduction of black bin waste collection to bi-weekly, and the additional cost of a green bin they did not want. What are your thoughts on these changes, and how would you address these residents' concerns?
I think the residents the bins were just dumped on their yard. There was no warning that we're going to be doing this, and I agree. It's an educational endeavor. I mean, we have to learn how to sort, but I think for $8 a month more to have these bins, I'm not sure if everyone is very happy with that. A lot of people have said they are recycling themselves. Do they still have to pay the $8 even though they are recycling? And I don't have an answer to that too. Are we gonna allow them to bypass that $8? I think too, for our dumpster, for our large area where we used to dump our grasses, and now it's closed, and I think what we should do is put a dumpster there so that people can just dump and have Public Works monitor it, and then when it's full, dump it. But it's, every other community has a place for us to dump organics, and yet we don't, and I think that's one thing we need to bring back.
Ms. Rimble, the region is studying a shared water distribution model with the County of Wetaskiwin. What is your position on that model, and under what conditions would you support or reject it? Also, if that model proves too costly or complex, what fallback plan do you propose to ensure Thorsby's water reliability over the next decade?
Well, one thing I do know is that the Leduc County was never at the table when the negotiations were made. So MCC is now a contract between the town of Thorsby and the Wetaskiwin County. And Leduc County is very, very upset that they weren't brought into the negotiations, because when we do sell our water to Wetaskiwin, we have to use county land to go through. We need to put our pipes into the county. So when they're not at the table, how are we gonna do that? I mean, it's gonna be a huge undertaking to now encourage them to be part of this. It's gonna be, it's definitely an undertaking that will take some time. And of course, we're not gonna have the sale of our water happen overnight. It's gonna take years, maybe 4 or 5 years before we see any results. So this is a long-term endeavor.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, the region is studying a shared water distribution model with the County of Wetaskiwin. What is your position on that model, and under what conditions would you support or reject it? Also, if the model proves to be too costly or complex, what fallback plan would you propose to ensure Thorsby's water reliability over the next decade?
The MCC with the County of Wetaskiwin is a lifeline for Thorsby. There's no money being put in by Thorsby. The partnership is with the County of Wetaskiwin. They're providing the customer, we're providing the water. It's the way of the future. As far as right-of-ways, the County of Leduc, we have right-of-ways already. We have ways to get it across all the way to the customer. The first customer in the first stage would be the Mulliners Bay, who buy water from the County of Wetaskiwin right now. This is the best thing that's ever happened to us, and from there, who knows where it's going to go.
Mr. Hostin, part of being mayor requires long-term thought about what the town of Thorsby can become. What is one priority project you would like to accomplish should you be elected?
Well, obviously it's the MCC. We've had that water license for 29 years and we have done nothing with it. Our water plant right now is capable of treating 3 million liters of water a day. The town of Thorsby uses 300,000. That's 10% for easier figuring. It's not sustainable, so we have to find other sources for it, and that's where the MCC comes in. So that's my number one priority. It has been my number one since I got on council, and even when I was back in 1996 when we got the license, it's been my priority. And like I said, it's a lifeline for Thorsby. Thank you.
Good job.
Ms. Rimble, part of being mayor requires long-term thought about what the town of Thorsby can become. What is one priority project you would like to accomplish should you be elected?
Well, the lease agreement on the land where intake pumps at the river are located expired 2 years ago. But the owner is being ignored. Morris Sitko from Sitko Holdings phoned me and said that he talked to both our mayor and CAO and they are stalling. He was told that he should talk to me about renewing and negotiating a new contract. The town leases 5 acres of his land by the North Saskatchewan River where the intake pump is located. Our water comes from the river and is pumped to Thorsby and into the water treatment plant. He said that payment is overdue by 2 years and Thorsby has neglected the area for years. I went down to the site and took pictures, and there was an empty building that was supposed to be torn down 2 years ago. When I'm there, this issue will be addressed immediately. The lease has to be negotiated before we can sell our water, obviously. And right now, they're defaulting in 2 years of payment as well.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, a few weeks ago, residents were invited to an information session for the proposed subdivision east of the RCMP station by Morningstar Developments. What is your position on this proposed development?
I was at the meeting and I learned a lot. They want to use a lot of our land to build many houses. They said it's affordable land, but you can't buy the land because the developer owns the land, so you could just buy the houses or duplexes or fourplexes. But my concern, I've had a lot of concerns about it, and one of them is the water, our water pressure. One of them is, are there gonna be green spaces? The traffic on 53rd Street is gonna be horrendous. It'll chew up the existing roads and make it worse than ever. So there's a lot of concerns, and until we sort them out, and nothing will be settled until the council approves this, and before they can approve it, there's a lot of research and information that has to be done. Look what happened in Kalmar. They had that development, and they didn't have clear-cut guidelines, and the town had put millions of dollars into that project. So we have to do our due diligence and research and make sure that if we do have this development, that it's done right and it's good for both of us, the town and the developer.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, a few weeks ago, residents were invited to an information session for the proposed subdivision east of the RCMP station by Morningstar Developments. What is your position on this proposed development?
Morningstar purchased that land a year ago, and they've been planning this thing for that long. 200 houses over 5 years is what they're looking at. That adds about $600,000 revenue to the town of Thorsby, which can offset taxes, can improve roads and everything. They've done studies, they've done road use studies, they will build all of the infrastructure in there. They will build the roads, they will build the sewers, and they build the water lines. And our system, as I said, 10% used, we can easily absorb that with nothing. The engineers may have to put a booster station in there, but it'll all be accounted for. And it's a fact that across Alberta that population, people are moving in. This is affordable housing. People will have to qualify just like you and I do. The government is not handing them their mortgages or their down payments or anything. So I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, the Arctic Spas Recreation Complex is a hub of community activity and recreation. How do you think it has been operating, and how would you improve its offerings to make sure it is meeting the needs of its users?
The Arctic Spas complex is fantastic right now. They are at 100% capacity. There's no ice time available for anybody. They've got programs for the kids over there. Every program is to the max. They have to turn them aside. We've got some people in there that program coordinators that are just marvelous, and they're keeping up with everything. Arctic Spas has signed a lease for 10 years. They're one of our best partners in town. It's nothing but up and up for that place.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, the Arctic Spas Recreation Complex is a hub of community activity and recreation. How do you think it's been operating, and how would you improve its offerings to make sure it is meeting the needs of its users?
I actually agree with Daryl. Everything that he said, I agree with, and I already had commented on before. It's our ace in the hole here.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, Town Council deals with a lot of big decisions. However, residents often feel they are left out of the process. How will you make sure residents are kept informed and have a voice in decisions?
Well, for one thing, we use the town uses social media to let everyone know that goes on the internet. But there are many, many seniors that I talk to that say, we don't know what's going on in the town. So if I'm mayor, I'm gonna make sure that we put the information in the paper as well, put highlights of the council meetings, just to keep everybody informed. And I think communication, again, that's my number one goal. And I think we need to use the paper and the internet as well to keep people informed.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, Town Council deals with a lot of big decisions. However, residents often feel left out of the process. How would you make sure residents are kept informed and have a voice in decisions?
Well, that's unfortunate that people think that way because the website is updated daily. There's current affairs in there, things that are happening posted in there. As far as the council meetings, they're posted there ahead of time. You can go in there, you can look at the agenda, you can know what's going on. You can go and look at previous agendas and all the minutes. Everything is stated in there. It's never been more transparent than it has right now. So if you want to come to the council meeting, everybody's welcome. You come in there at the end of the end of every council meeting. We have a public section there for anybody in the public wants to discuss something. And I don't know how you can be more transparent, to be honest.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, for many, serving the community means knowing the community. Remote work has increased flexibility for town employees, but also allows them to disconnect from the community and its concerns. What is your position on remote work, and how would you balance flexibility for town employees with the need to have a physical presence in town?
I'm sorry, Mr. There. I have an echo here. I guess I should have had my whisper 3000
Sorry.
as well. Could you please repeat that?
Absolutely. For many, serving the community means knowing the community. Remote work has increased flexibility for town employees, but it also allows them to disconnect from the community and its concerns. What is your position on remote work, and how would you balance flexibility for town employees with the need to have a physical presence in town?
Well, people now they work at home. We had COVID. We went through COVID here. There were a lot of people that worked from home. It's a fact for everything. As far as the town employees, they do a job and they're accountable that way. We have daily meetings with them, so I don't know why they what you mean by their presence not being there. So.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, for many, serving the community means knowing the community. Remote work has increased flexibility for town employees, but also allows them to disconnect from the community and its concerns. What is your position on remote work, and how would you balance flexibility for town employees with the need to have a physical presence in town?
The council and the mayor have not provided a yearly evaluation of our CAO and our CFO, a necessary yearly task, yet increased their contract financially from $120,000 to $171,600. That's a 44% raise over the last 4 years for a part-time CAO and CFO working part-time remotely and the CFO working remotely from BC. However capable, should we use a contractor who resides in another province? Do we not have access to accountants locally within our region? I think that yes, Zoom is important, and I think that's what she does most of the time, but the last little while, the town actually paid for her flight from Cranbrook.
That's not true.
No,
They
that's
didn't-
not true.
They
That's
did,
not
they didn't
true.
pay for the flight?
That's not
Okay.
true.
Okay, she
Continue
paid for
on.
her own, good to know. Okay, because somebody said that she had told them that the town had paid for her flight, but she paid for herself, that's good to know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, go ahead. Ms. Rempel, returning to the recent changes in waste collection.
Yes.
Concerns have been raised over the cost of the Leduc County dump cards and how it may lead to illegal dumping of items, both household and oversized organic waste, especially now that garbage is only being collected every 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on the dump card fee, and how do you plan on addressing the collection of oversized and non-waste collection appropriate items?
Well, right now, we are charging $25 for a dump card, and both Kalmar and Warburg are charging $20. So I think I would probably bring it down to $20 for one thing, which is a little more reasonable. And also, like I said before, I think having a dumpster in our community would alleviate a lot of that illegal dumping as well.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, returning to the recent changes to waste collection, concerns have been raised over the cost of the Leduc County dump cards and how it may lead to illegal dumping of items, both household and oversized organic waste, especially now that garbage is only being collected every 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on the dump card fee, and how do you plan on addressing the collection of oversized and non-waste collection appropriate items?
Well, the economic part of it is they're collected every week, except for the winter time when it doesn't make a fact, and you're not using that stuff anyhow. So it's a weekly thing. For the $25, that's just a pass-through. That's what we're charged from the county. I don't know why these guys are subsidizing it, but we're not making any money on it, I can tell you that. We also, for the big items that you have to take to the dump, once a year in May, we always have a couple dumpsters here, big dumpsters, where we dump everything there. People can store it up there and actually picked up right at the curbside.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, growth is essential for maintaining a thriving community. However, Thorsby's small population has remained relatively stagnant over the past several decades. What kind of growth do you think is sustainable for the town of Thorsby, and how would you attract new residents and businesses without losing the town's character?
Well, we already have. I mean, the Morningstar development is proof of that. Is it sustainable? If you figure 200 houses over 5 years and say an average of 3 people per house, that's 600 people. To a population of 1,000, that's a 60% increase. Can we sustain it? I know the infrastructure can. Every 5 houses that come to Thorsby, we get together with the school board and we discuss whether they're going to need more people in that. So that's one way to look after that. And yes, I think it's definitely, we can handle it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, growth is essential for maintaining a thriving community. However, Thorsby's small population has remained relatively stagnant over the past several decades. What kind of growth do you think is sustainable for the town, and how would you attract new residents and businesses without losing the town's character?
I think that it is always going to be small because of our high taxes, and we have lots that have been sitting stagnant for years, and I think we need to bring a new bylaw in saying that those lots in town should be sold before we start to build outside. But trying to bring them in here, I think we have to have some kind of incentives to bring them here. I don't know what they are, and if we do develop those 200-some homes, do we need another grocery store? Do we need another playground? Do we need another school? There's so many factors to consider. We can't just put that development up and not think of the ramifications around all of it.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, volunteers are vital to a community like Thorsby. However, since COVID, volunteers have been harder and harder to attract and retain. What strategies would you use to help community organizations attract, retain, and celebrate volunteers?
I think a lot of times people need to have an incentive and be appreciated, and I think a lot of times the town hasn't appreciated the volunteers that they've disconnected with Communities in Bloom, they've disconnected with the Chamber of Commerce, they've left out the volunteerism that could have happened because they just don't really care about volunteers. I just feel that we need to get back and appreciate what people have done, appreciate the clubs that are working their butts off, and yeah, I just think we need to really, really get out there and say, look at We need you, we need volunteers. Every community needs as many volunteers as possible. And I think we just have to, I don't know, appreciate them.
Thank you. Mr. Hostel. Volunteers are vital to a community like Thorsby. However, since COVID-19, volunteers have been harder and harder to attract and retain. What strategies would you use to help community organizations attract, retain, and celebrate volunteers?
Well, it's unfortunate in all communities that volunteers are the older population, and the older population, and everything is dwindling. So you're gonna have to try and attract some of the new people in here and get them involved with the clubs and stuff like that. As far as Thorsby, not appreciating our volunteers, I know that we've had the last 2 in a row, we've had 125 people at our appreciation night. We've had charged $20. I know Kalmar, they had 25 people there and they were giving the tickets away. So I think Thorsby's done pretty well compared to some of the other municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, town administration handles the day-to-day business of Thorsby, but they are responsible to town council and ultimately the taxpayer. What mechanisms would you employ to hold the administrative leadership accountable for delays and budgetary overruns?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part again?
The last part, what mechanisms would you employ to hold the administrative leadership accountable for delays and budgetary overruns?
Well, first of all, it's illegal to have a budget overrun. You have to budget, you have to balance your budget. So, like from Thorsby, we've never been under budget. The first year we came into here, we had a $7,000 deficit. Last year we had a $400,000 surplus, and we're looking for the same this year. So you have to be accountable. You set your budgets. That's what your CEO does there. They administrate that according to that, and you can't have an overrun. So.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, town administration handles the day-to-day business of Thorsby, but they are responsible to town council and ultimately the taxpayer. What mechanisms would you employ to hold the administrative leadership accountable for delays and budgetary overruns?
Well, first of all, the council makes the policies, the administration implements it. And sometimes I think we have it backwards. Sometimes our administration takes over and the council is left hanging. I think we have to get back to having the council make the policies and the decisions and then bring those decisions to the administration to implement them.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, understanding how and why decisions are made helps residents understand what is happening in their town and how their taxes are being used. What steps will you take to make municipal decisions, meeting minutes, bylaws, and budgets more accessible and understandable to the average citizen?
Well, again, the budget has to be done cooperatively with the administration and the council. And if anyone wants to come into the council to see the process, I'm sure that's available, is it not?
It is.
So I think that's how we can educate the people on the budgets.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, understanding how and why decisions are made helps residents understand what is happening in their town and how their taxes are being used. What steps will you take to make municipal decisions, meeting minutes, bylaws, and budgets more accessible and understandable to the ordinary citizen?
Well, that's something we do all the time. In the 4 years in my term here, we've posted the budgets ahead of time. We've told people at the special meeting when we're having the budget, and I believe in 4 years we maybe had 2 people attend our meetings. So I don't know what more you can do. It is a long process for sure, but we give them the figures in there. The councilors talk about it, and if people want to come to the meeting and be part of it, they can be. That's the whole thing, is to be part of the decision making.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, summers are getting hotter and budgets are getting tighter. Many have suggested that Thorsby needs a water recreation feature, like a splash pad, to help its younger residents beat the heat. What is your position on this idea? And would you be open to exploring grant opportunities or community partnerships to help fund a splash pad or a similar amenity?
I'd love to have a water park in town, Thorsby Splash Park. Some of the other communities have them, they've been donated. We have a ton of water, but it creates a lot of other problems. Where do you have it? When you have it open, there's a ton of things that you have to address in there. If we could find the money for it, we would do it in a heartbeat. But once again, you've all heard about the taxes in Thorsby, and how do you do it when every $14,000 that we put in the budget over, that's a 1% tax increase. So if you're looking at a $140,000 water park, it's 14% in your tax increase. So very hard to do.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, summers are getting hotter and budgets are getting tighter. Many have suggested that Thorsby needs a water recreation feature, like a splash pad, to help its younger residents beat the heat. What is your position on this idea, and would you be open to exploring grant opportunities or community partnerships to help fund a splash pad or similar amenities?
I agree. I think we should definitely work together and get a grant and have one. I think it's a wonderful idea. However, I think the roads are number one priority, and I think if we put a splash park in, I think that people would be in an uproar because I think the roads are number one.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, both of you have lived in Thorsby for long enough to establish relationships, both good and bad, with many of its residents. This means you may have preconceived ideas about projects, suggestions, or individuals. How do you separate personal grudges from public decisions?
I think because I'm a positive person, I think I would probably try and work together and try to be a team and try to work it out that way. Certainly that's the only way you can move ahead, is if you think alike and make make decisions together and make them wise decisions. And you're one vote, so you have to have the team work together with you.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, both you and Ms. Rempel have lived in Thorsby long enough to establish relationships, both good and bad, with many of its residents. This means you may have preconceived ideas about projects, suggestions, or individuals. How do you separate personal grudges from public decisions?
Well, that's for sure. I've been a long time, but your personal things, you have to honor your role as a mayor, as a councillor, and for that you have a duty. And you have to put your personal things aside. It can't be, there could be a pecuniary interest, a conflict of interest, and you have to put aside. Otherwise, you shouldn't be in council. So you have to do what's the best for the community, not for you, or that's the way it works.
Mr. Hostin, water quality has been an issue in Thorsby for as long as I can remember. I even remember warning people the Coke slush tasted funny in our store. While it is safe to drink and use, it is not always pleasant to drink and use. What is your plan to address water delivery infrastructure and help Thorsby get better tasting water?
Well, I think I've already told on that. For sure, we have a water treatment plant that's state of the art. We have a raw water source. It's probably the best in Alberta, but we have the worst distribution towns in the world. They're 70 years old, there's crud in there, there's sediment. So the only way you're gonna improve the water quality is to change out those lines. We recently had our river intake there. There's a sand pit down there with a valve, and it hasn't been cleaned out in 14 years. That could, I don't know, I'm not the engineer, but it could be contributing to our poor water quality. But you're absolutely right, it's safe to drink. It's just that the only way we're going to improve it is change lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, water quality has been an issue in Thorsby for as long as I can remember. I even remember warning people that the Coke slush tastes funny in our store. While it is safe to drink and use, it is not always pleasant to drink and use. What is your plan to address water delivery infrastructure and help Thorsby get better tasting water?
Well, I think that we need to flush the lines out regularly, have a plan to flush them out. I mean, replacing them, yes, that'd be great, but that's gonna take years and years and dollars. And so in the meantime, some of the people can't even, look at the water that's being sold in our grocery store. I mean, gallons and gallons and gallons go out because they cannot drink the water through their lines. So we need to have a plan where we can flush their lines, even though they're old, we need to do that.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, public safety is always a concern for those in Thorsby. How would you assess the RCMP's presence and effectiveness in Thorsby currently? And what changes, if any, would you push for?
Well, I'm very fortunate. I live close to the RCMP. Now, the RCMP live on a gravel road, so I think that's a deterrent because there's water that bogs down, and so they're always, again, complaining about the roads. But I think there's a presence right now because we've got not only the Thorsby detachment, we also have the Breton detachment here because of they shut down the detachment in Breton because of the insulation and the rot, or whatever you want to call it. So yes, I think we're very fortunate to have RCMP detachment here. I think they're doing their due diligence, and I think in the paper too, they put an article in once in a while saying how many offenders they've put in jail, and heads up on the roads, and so I think we're very fortunate to have it here.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, public safety is always a concern for those in Thorsby. How would you assess the RCMP's presence and effectiveness in Thorsby currently? What changes, if any, would you push for?
Well, the RCMP and Thorsby have one of the largest areas going around here. Every criminal in the world here knows when they're off duty. I'm telling you that right now. So that's when all the crimes happen. Unfortunately, they show their faces around, they do their duties and all that, but they can't be there all the time. So there's two ways to do that. Our bylaw officer that we're going to finally swear in here, you can do that. The other thing is I believe we should be doing is that when the RCMP plan all their stuff for the year, we should be part of that process. We should not just say, okay, they're gonna do what they want, but we know where the bad areas are, we know the things that are happening, and we should be part of that process. I know in other communities they are, and that's something that we're gonna have to press on.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, climate change has increased the severity of weather events and led to extreme temperature fluctuations. This can pose safety risks for those living, working, and playing in Thorsby. If a major storm or natural disaster struck during your term, how would you coordinate response, recovery, and cost mitigation?
Well, Thorsby has an emergency plan. We've worked on it there, and we have designated officers in case of an emergency call. We also reach out to, in a case like you've seen it with the wildfires where they get into the province involved. We've got agreements with the county of Leduc, we've got agreements with the province, and we just need to reach out for them. But we have a process in place here. We're fortunate, I guess, when you look at Thorsby, there's a lot of things that we have to worry about. We don't have to worry about earthquakes, we don't have to worry about tornadoes, we don't have to worry about stuff like that. So other than maybe a truck going down the highway and dumping some dangerous chemicals, I think we're pretty safe here.
Thank you. And the odd flood. For those that don't know, in 1990 there was a flood. There was water all the way up to the family restaurant. It was quite the thing. Ms. Rempel, climate change has increased the severity of weather events and led to extreme temperature fluctuations. This can pose safety risks for those living, working, and playing in Thorsby. If a major storm or natural disaster struck during your term, how would you coordinate response, recovery, and cost mitigation?
And I concur with what Daryl said because he knows what they have in place. I'm glad that they have an emergency plan.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, it is no secret that budgets are challenging for Alberta municipalities. One way of mitigating costs is to enter into shared service agreements. What services do you think Thorsby should consider sharing or consolidating with neighboring municipalities? And what metrics or guarantees would you demand before entering into such agreements?
Oh, I agree. We definitely have to share some. Well, we are sharing the garbage service, right, Infinity. So that's great. I think too, snow removal could be shared. We haven't done that yet, but that could be shared. Removing dead trees, trimming the trees, maybe we could share that. Let's see, what else could we share? Well, those are a few things anyway.
Mr. Hostin, it is no secret that budgets are challenging for Alberta municipalities. One way of mitigating costs is to enter into shared service agreements. What services do you think Thorsby should consider sharing or consolidating with neighboring municipalities? And what metrics or guarantees would you demand before entering into such agreements?
Well, the CAOs of Thorsby, Warburg, Calmer, and Breton get together regular, and they share a lot of things. They share a lot of computer stuff. They compare. We're working on a accounting system right now. The town has to put in a new system. We're working with Calmer right now to try and get that resolved at a better price. We've also, the water, we've been trying to do that for years. We haven't had a whole bunch of interest, but now we are sharing that with the county of Itasca, I'm going to say. But we've looked at this on a regular basis with the CEOs. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, part of attracting development and residents to Thorsby is ensuring it is aesthetically pleasing. Yet the Christmas lights are left up and on year-round, and the landscaping rocks on Hankin Street were replaced with weed-infested grass. How would you address the need for town beautification?
Well, obviously we need it for sure, but is it sustainable? You've heard about all the costs we've got and everything here, so we need to do. We can't spend a fortune on it. Some of our groups do the best in there, community blooms and stuff like that. We redid the boulevard. It took, there were some obstacles there, but it actually looks pretty good. That's the first time in probably in the last couple of years that it has been, I think. There was weeds and everything, and next year I think they're gonna look 110% better. I'm for it, but unfortunately, some of this stuff you have to put it in the budget, and if it's not in the budget, how do you pay for it?
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, part of attracting development and residents to Thorsby is ensuring it is aesthetically pleasing. Yet the Christmas lights are left up and on year-round, and the landscaping rocks on Hankin Street were replaced with weed-infested grass. How would you address the need for town beautification?
Well, we did have a group called Communities in Bloom who looked after and had beautified our community with hanging pots and beautiful pots with the flowers overflowing. And yet the town decided to outsource that and hired the Hutterites to plant the plants. Instead of having volunteers and having our local people do all the planting and beautification, they outsourced it. So I think if I became mayor, I would definitely bring Communities in Bloom back to do the planting again and looking after it to make our and the boulevard again, weeding it. It looks terrible. I don't know about you, but are you blind? Yeah, no, we definitely have to bring Communities in Bloom back to do their volunteers. It wouldn't cost. They budgeted for it, and I don't know if the budget was over for outsourcing it, but I'm sure it was within reason the year before when the next year. We'll see.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, we live in an age where social media has seemingly become the town square for discussion and debate. Would you support a social media code of conduct for council members? Why or why not, and what should it include?
Absolutely, there should be a code of conduct, because in social media, if you are a councillor or mayor you have to be positive. You are representing the community and you cannot say negative things. You have to refer them back to the town office, but you certainly, you have to be positive and influence for your community. I think sometimes we get carried away on social media, especially the younger ones, more so than the older ones. You have an instinct to constantly want to reply, and you have to hold back and say, no, you can't touch it, and do your homework and research it and find the answer before you start rambling on. I think sometimes too we need to use the paper more. Social media is one way to communicate, but we certainly still need to read and do our research.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, we live in an age where social media has seemingly become the town square for discussion and debate. Would you support a social media code of conduct for council members? Why or why not? And what elements should it include?
We have a code of conduct and for social media. It's in our bylaws and it's developed by the AMA. So in regards to the social media, the town page is monitored by the CEO and the administration, and as you know, the rat rate message, you look at that. So myself, I'm going to tell you right now that I don't go on social media. It's not because I'm illiterate of it. I just sometimes you get in there, it never ends. The people aren't accountable. They put things in there that are untruth, and they bring them out, and it creates more problems than it solves. So for myself, personally speaking, I just don't go in it. Thank you.
Mr. Hostin, part of seeing change is tracking it. If elected, what specific metrics will you use to track progress? If after 2 years you see you're failing in one of your commitments, how would you course correct?
Well, we already have a thing in place for that. We have a tracker. I'm sure Jessie's over there could tell you all about it if she wanted to, but I can tell you, every resolution that we make in council is tracked. At the end of every month or every quarter, we put out a statement to see where we're at, if any of them are pending or them are resolved, but every single one is tracked and completed.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, part of seeing change is tracking it. If elected, what specific metrics will you use to track progress? If after 2 years you feel you're failing on one of your commitments, what's your process for course correction?
Well, I will have to agree with Gerald because I don't know.
Thank you. Ms. Rempel, this is our final question. We're running a little ahead of schedule, so you'll have an opportunity to chat with the two candidates at the end of the evening. Ms. Rempel, attracting new businesses is vital to Thorsby's future. However, it has been observed that the last town council could have had a better relationship with the Chamber of Commerce. How would you go about repairing that relationship and ensuring it remains strong to help attract more business opportunities?
I think communication, meeting people one-on-one, having a meeting, talking it out personally and in a group, and just making it friendly. I think so often things aren't, I think sometimes a letter or a text could be miscued, and I think we have to somehow get back to communicating personally and as a group.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin, attracting new businesses is vital to Thorsby's future. However, it has been observed that the last town council could have had a better relationship with the Chamber of Commerce. How would you go about repairing that relationship and ensuring it remains strong to help attract more business opportunities?
Well, unfortunately, I think it's a two-way street, and I think that there's some personalities in there is what's causing the problem, and I can't tell people to get together. So as far as attracting new businesses, I've seen more in Thorsby in the last 4 years than I've seen in the last 20 years. You look at maybe they're not the thing that you maybe desire the most. There's a cannabis shop, there's a vape shop, there's a new 3-star building there for Grant Johnson built over there. We've got a new building that moved at the end of the street there. It's going to be a greenhouse down there. There's just going to be a wood glaze shop in there. They also have a manufacturing, they're making some, I believe, mosquito repellent or something like that. And I see more interest in Thorsby in the last 4 years than I've seen in a lot of years. And the council is responsible for a lot of that, I believe, in administration, because they are making people want to come here. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your engagement with those hard-hitting questions from the voters of Thorsby. Over the last hour or so, you answered 29 questions of the 30. Sorry, I should turn the one speaker a little bit more. We're now moving to a new portion of the forum. It is your turn to ask the questions. You will each have up to 60 seconds to ask a question to your opponent, and then your opponent has 90 seconds to respond. Mr. Hostin, your question is first, followed by Ms. Rempel's response, then we will swap. Mr. Hostin, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Question to Mayor Candidate Rempel. Throughout your campaign, I have heard from numerous residents and business owners that if elected, you would get rid of the current administration and public works employees. First of all, the public works employees are members of QP, and to accomplish this, you would need 100% vote from them to abolish the union. And then you would have to pay the severance as outlined in the union agreements. Secondly, the CL and CFO are contract employees, and as such, no benefits are charged or paid. By doing a simple comparison to other municipalities, it would cost the town over $100,000 for equivalent salaries plus benefits, not to mention recruiting and council honoraries of over $25,000. Excuse me. There's also the transition time required to familiarize the employees in the new position. This has been a significant problem with Thorsby over the last 30 years. It has been a revolving door of new administration people. As a responsible mayor, where would the hundreds of thousands of dollars come from, what would be the benefit and reason for it?
Thank you. And I think I've told people that they're on contract. So their contract comes up in February. But unless there's an evaluation done, and which you omitted to do, I think that's one thing that I would definitely do again is do an evaluation and see where they stand. And they've worked very hard. But certainly, do we want a CFO that lives in BC? There's lots of capable accountants here. And as the questions, they have to phone them in BC. I mean, is that realistic? So, no, I never said that we're gonna get rid of them. I just said we're gonna, look at their contract and see if we wanna renegotiate again. And again, I told you, you gave them a 44% raise. Why would you do that? 120, I've got the books, I looked it up.
It's a 4-year thing.
Mr. Hostin, it's Ms. Rempel's turn to have the
44% over
floor.
4 years, sorry. So, and what was the second part of it? You said,
I said, where would you come up with a couple $100,000?
you don't have to buy them out. If their contract is done, if they're
No,
done.
you have to get rid of them, and you have
Oh,
to
to
replace
hire.
them with different people,
Okay.
equivalent.
But we certainly wouldn't spend 171,600 on their salary.
I don't-
Really?
You're wrong there, because you pay that for just one, not only two.
But they're part-time, they both share. Well, anyway, I disagree. I think that,
And that's
I'm not, time's up, okay.
Ms. Rempel, may we have your question?
Okay. My question to you, Daryl. The Chamber of Commerce received a letter from you, signed by you and all the councillors. As the secretary of the chamber, I noticed that you no longer wanted to be a chamber member for $150 a year. The current chamber board is made up of volunteers that are prominent business owners. Businesses are the backbone of the community, and the chamber is the voice of the businesses. Does our town not want to work with our businesses? How can a town be effective if there is no support for the businesses? We had a town rep, the only paid member, who was to pass all information back to the town. That apparently did not happen. Your letter states that there was no transparent communication between the town and the chamber. You even stated that a new board be put in place that has a clear member-approved vision. Why didn't you have a meeting in person with the chamber rather than send a letter to them? Isn't that clear, transparent communication? Our local businesses donate thousands of dollars. Sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin.
Thank you for that question. It's not about the $150. Once again, there's two sides to every story. That letter was unanimously signed by the council and myself and everybody in there. Some of the stuff that went on there back and forth, and I'm not going to get into the he said, she said stuff, but there comes to a time when you have to draw a line in the sand, and when they're not agreeing with us and we're not agreeing with them, then you have to stop it. And both sides could have come together. It's not just one side, it's a two-way street. Thank you.
We now have an opportunity to present for the mayoral candidates to present their closing statements and let the citizens of Thorsby know why each of you deserve their vote. Ms. Rempel, I invite your statement first, followed by Mr. Hostin.
I care about the future of our community. I would like to be involved with the changes in the future, our marketing and sales of our water, and the overall growth of our community. The council is only as good as the administration, and the administration is only as good as the council. Change happens when new perspectives are truly heard. I believe in a future for Thorsby where every idea has a chance to make a difference. Remember, your vote counts.
Thank you. Mr. Hostin.
Thank you. In conclusion, I would like to thank the people of Thorsby who elected me in the last election. It was a tough 4 years, but I really do believe that the administration and council made a difference. And now I'm asking for your consideration to vote for me as your mayor for the next 4 years. You've heard my thoughts and opinions today, and I would like to continue to accomplish in the next 4 years. At this time, I would like to read aloud a letter that I received from the Minister of Municipal Affairs, the Honorable Dan Williams, on October the 2nd, regarding the municipal controlled corporation with the County of Wetaskiwin. His Worship Darrell Hostin. Dear Mayor Hostin, thank you for your recent letter notifying me of the establishment of a municipal controlled corporation by the County of Wetaskiwin and County of Thorsby. I am pleased to note that the Town of Thorsby has fulfilled the legislative requirements for establishing a municipal controlled corporation under the Municipal Government Act and the Municipal Controlled Corporations Regulation. Therefore, I have no concerns with the town proceeding to register the corporation. I appreciate, emphasis on that, your commitment to exploring regional water delivery strategies. I encourage you to continue working collaboratively to create a formal partnership to improve water accessibility, quality, and reliability for residents and businesses in your community. And as far as I'm concerned, the County of Leduc has nothing to do with this when we have the whole government behind us. Thank you.
Can we give another round of applause for our mayoral candidates and for our councilors-elect?
And for you did great.
Before we close this evening, I have some final thank yous. First and foremost, thank you to the Thorsby and District Senior Citizens Club for hosting this forum. I appreciate being able to use their beautiful building as a venue for this evening's event. Thanks also to Our Lady of Victory Roman Catholic Church for the use of their sound system to help facilitate the conversation this evening. Thank you to the councilors-elect and mayoral candidates for their participation and cooperation this evening. It is critical for voters to be informed, and you sharing your perspectives is most helpful. I personally appreciate your commitment to stand for public office and do what is best for the residents of Thorsby during these uncertain times. Good luck on Monday. Finally, to the voters of Thorsby, thank you for attending this evening or watching this recording at a later time. I hope you've learned a lot to help you in your choice on Election Day. Most importantly, please remember to vote on Monday, October 20th. The polling station will be open in the Town of Thorsby office at 4917 Hankin Street from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you for your time. Drive or walk safe home, and it has been a pleasure to moderate for you this evening. Have a great evening.